Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome into today's show. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate your time today. More developments on the Biden Autopen scandal. According to senior officials, the White House Counsel's office has launched an internal investigation working with the Department of Justice to comb through what could be over 1 million or more documents tied to Joe Biden's use of this machine. This could get interesting. Also yesterday, the White House rolled out an interactive map of the U.S. showing the savings that Americans can expect from initiatives under President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It's on a state-by-state basis. I have the details for you and how you can find this tool to see how it will benefit you. Something unusual happened yesterday, a real rare moment. Whoopi Goldberg and I actually agreed on something. Stick around during today's show to find out on what. And Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott made it official this week by announcing her candidacy for governor of South Carolina. We have an update on what's next in the campaign.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
More developments on the Biden Autopen scandal, as President Trump reportedly has ordered further investigation in the Biden administration's use of this machine that signed Joe Biden's name thousands of times. This is a story that should upset every American, regardless of their party affiliation. We've talked about this quite a bit over the past few weeks after we learned that this Autopen was used a lot in those final months of the Joe Biden administration. The president of the United States, the most powerful man on earth, may not have been signing his own name to some very important documents. He may not even known what he was signing. Why? Because, again, he was using a robot, or someone was using a robot to sign his name. Joe Biden, the guy that we were told was as sharp as ever, may have outsourced the authority of the presidency to a machine, to a pen with a motor, the Autopen, basically a mechanical device that mimics someone's signature. Someone can push a button and bingo, it signs for you. Except it's not just signing birthday cards or thank you notes. In Joe Biden's situation, it was used to sign pardons, executive actions, binding federal documents, things that impact people's lives, change laws, and alter the course of the country. Now, the Trump administration says they're going to dig in deeper because if true, this isn't just some quirky tech thing. It could potentially be uncovering a constitutional crisis. According to senior officials, the White House Counsel's office has launched an internal investigation working with the Department of Justice to comb through what could be over 1 million documents tied to Joe Biden's use of this machine. I keep saying Joe Biden's use of it because we have to assume that he knew that someone was using it. I honestly don't think he knew exactly what they were doing with it, though, or some of the documents, some of the pardons that they were offering people. And let me say again, over 1 million documents. Imagine the time and resources it's going to take to have to go back through this, but it's necessary. That's how much material Joe Biden either signed or authorized while in office, or some of his senior staff, or maybe the First Lady, agreed to do. Most of those signatures we're probably going to find were not his own. The question now is whether Biden even knew what was being signed. And here's where it is really disturbing, because buried in those records, and yes, we're talking about actual files that are going to be handed over by the National Archives, again, are pardons. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, including some of the most controversial ones that we've heard about. Fauci, Milley, Hunter Biden. And guess what? Only one of those, we're being told, was signed by Joe Biden's actual hand. Just one, Hunter Biden's. The rest, the Autopen. So what we're looking at isn't a slip up. It's a pattern. They used Autopen on a regular basis. So let me ask you something. How can you run a country if you can't even sign your own name? How can you execute the duties of the presidency, as laid out in the Constitution, if someone else is literally holding the pen for you? Now, the media, of course, has gone quiet. Mainstream media, they don't want to uncover this because this makes Biden look feeble, incapacitated. Unelected staffers and anonymous bureaucrats have the full weight of the presidential authority within their control, while Joe Biden nods off on the beach in Delaware. They don't want to talk about it. They'd rather talk about Trump's tone, or whether his tie is too red or too long, or this, that, and the other. But we're talking about real power here, about who actually had it and who was faking it. And the more we learn, the worse it looks. According to Fox News, Biden's former chief of staff, Jeff Zients, was personally authorizing the use of the Autopen. We knew that. We recently learned that. Jeff Zients, the chief of staff, was a quasi-president. He was signing off on pardons, orders, decisions, all with that little robot pen. At one point, Zients reportedly approved preemptive pardons for Anthony Fauci and General Mark Milley before Joe Biden had even reviewed the list. So here's the question. Was Joe Biden really in the loop at all? Did he know what was going on? Because if not, this is not just a story about a gadget, some tech thing. This is about a presidency run by staffers that should terrify every single voter, again, regardless of your party affiliation. In his final year, Joe Biden signed over 1,500 pardons. That's the most in modern history. And we now know that many of those were signed by the machine. We also know that Biden himself admitted in a rare interview that he did not personally review every name. What does this mean? Let me translate for you. He didn't know who he was pardoning. The staff decided this. Imagine that. The president of the United States literally handing out get-out-of-jail-free cards to people he's never met, never heard of, never even seen. Now, add in the fact that many of those pardons were preemptive, meaning that those people hadn't been charged yet, and the whole thing starts to look like something that you've seen in a banana republic or something. And let's not forget either, Biden used that Autopen to protect his inner circle. Fauci got one. So did Milley. So did members of the January 6th committee and their staff. It's like Oprah handing out cars. You get a pardon, you get a pardon, you get a pardon. Step right up, come down and get yours. All rubber stamped by this machine. All while Joe Biden's handlers told us that he was fully engaged, fully in command. Yeah, sure he was. Sure, Joe Biden was fully in command. Let me be clear. Again, it wasn't an accident. This was a strategy. It was the inevitable result of putting a man in office who wasn't up to the job, surrounding him with radicals who actually were up to the job. They liked the idea that Joe Biden didn't know what they were doing. These weren't random staffers either. They were ideologues, people with axes to grind, people with big plans, people who didn't care about transparency or process or the Constitution. They had a mission to remake America in their image. And if Biden had to take a nap while they did it, so be it. That's okay. Have some cookies and milk ready for him when he wakes up. Now, the Biden team says, relax, there was a system in place. It's not as bad as you think it is. They say the Autopen was only used when Biden gave verbal direction or sign-off. But let me ask you, do you really believe that? Do you trust these people who are in charge of the Biden White House? The same people who lied for years about Hunter's laptop, about the origins of COVID, about the border, the economy, the inflation, crime, Afghanistan, the list goes on and on and on. These are the same folks now asking us to trust them with invisible presidential signatures. Think about the precedent. If this is allowed to stand, if it becomes acceptable for unelected aides to have the presidential authority using a robot pen, then what stops the next president from doing the same thing? What stops some overzealous person, even in the Trump administration, from doing the same thing? Nothing. And we should all be concerned about this, and we should demand that something is changed. Joey Hudson here. America is facing a health crisis, and the answer isn't more meds. I lost over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan without Ozempic or any weight loss shots. Don't settle for a lifetime of medication. GLP-1 injections like Ozempic help some people lose weight, but they come with side effects, high cost, and most gain it back when they stop. At PhD Weight Loss, we reveal Big Pharma's big secret. Your body already makes GLP-1, the appetite-fighting hormone. Our program helps your body make it naturally so you'll drop the pounds faster. With the PhD method, no side effects, no long-term risk, no rebound weight gain, just natural, lasting results, all without hunger or cravings. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. Discover your body's true potential without a shot. It's free and gives you the keys to your personalized plan. Do like I did and don't trade your health for a quick fix. Call now at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com. Okay, I have to admit, had a rare moment yesterday. For once, Whoopi Goldberg and I agree about something. And I'm almost ashamed to admit it. But she did. She actually made some sense yesterday. Goldberg did not hold back. Actually, this was Tuesday. She didn't hold back on The View. And frankly, someone needed to say it, I'll admit. This was in a moment that just kind of cut through the noise and the nonsense. Goldberg called out the disturbing trend of politicizing the devastation that we have seen in the Texas floods. A natural disaster that's already claimed the lives of at least 129 people, with others still missing. It's going to take a while for that area of Texas to fully recover. A lot of property damage. And these poor families who sent these sweet young girls to camp, to Christian summer camp, and they're not going back home to be with their families. Horrible, horrible. And you've probably seen some of the posts that she's talking about. Some of the posts where people are saying, this wouldn't have happened if Trump hadn't cut out funding for FEMA. This wouldn't have happened if. And they deserved it because they voted for him, meaning Trump. Because this area of Texas evidently is a red area. That's a conservative area. Goldberg aimed squarely at this online crowd of people, the activists, the pundits, even the pediatrician that I told you about last week who was fired because she's one of the ones who said they deserve it because they voted for it. They got what they voted for. They've taken to social media not to help with prayers or encouragement, but to scold the victims for their voting history. According to Goldberg and to anyone with an ounce of decency, that kind of talk isn't just inappropriate, it is mean. It is vile. Here's Whoopi Goldberg.
Agencies are finding that they're not getting the money because people are blaming the people who died in the floods. And they're saying, well, why should I give you? You voted for this. Let me tell you, let's be really clear.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable, but it's happening. And so I just want to be really clear. You know, you can't blame anybody for these floods. It's nobody's fault. I didn't do it. You didn't do it. It has nothing to do with Washington. This was what happened. This was a natural disaster. Yeah. And if you are writing on people's socials where you should be giving, if you're saying these kinds of things, damn you. Mm-hmm. Damn you. People are trying to get their lives together. These floods are no joke. This is not light humor. This is not how we do in America. We show up for whoever is in trouble. We don't say, who did you vote for? We don't say, who did you vote with? We show up. We show up for children. We show up for older folks. We show up for middle-aged folks. And we show up for the young. Because that's what we do as Americans when we find that horrible things are happening in the world. Stop sending those messages.
As hard as it is for me to say I agree with her, she's right, isn't she? Ms. Goldberg's comments, of course, come as social media backlash grows against left-wing commentators like Slade Perkins, who described Camp Mystique, where dozens of children were swept away by the floodwaters, as a white-only conservative Christian camp. Others like Ron Filikowski and Dr. Christina Prost suggested the people of Kerr County got what they voted for because they supported Trump and Texas Governor Abbott. Probst, in a now-deleted post, expressed hopes that non-MAGA voters and pets stay safe while MAGA voters face the consequences of their choices. I mean, this is just evil stuff. This is horrible stuff. Ms. Goldberg cut through that noise with a reminder of what disaster response should be about: compassion, not politics. And she's right. I would hope that if this had been a blue state, a blue county, that we would not have reacted like that. We would not have said, well, because you voted for Kamala Harris, this is what you get. There's no place for politics in a natural disaster like this. And she's right. We didn't cause this. Nobody caused it. This was an act of God. This was a natural disaster. Those poor little kids did not have a chance. And the adults who were there with them. It shouldn't be controversial to say that political ideology should never be a precondition for empathy, especially not in the wake of a natural disaster that left families grieving and communities literally destroyed, shattered. There's room in this country for debate. There's room for protest. There's even room for outrage, which we often see Whoopi Goldberg expressing on her show. But there also has to be room for decency. And that's what, and it's hard for me to say, Whoopi Goldberg reminding us of by calling these people out. That what far too many people seem to have forgotten is we have to take care of one another, regardless of our political affiliation. You agree? Text me, email me. Love to hear from you. Joey at joeyhudson.com. We have talked about tipping in the past. And I'm conflicted at times because too often you hear about tipping and people say, well, you know, they don't make a lot of money and you need to really tip them. But is it appropriate not to tip if you just don't get good service? That's a story that's making the rounds. A waitress at an Italian restaurant apparently humiliated a customer in front of the whole dining room, prompting him to take his tip back, according to a forum online, Reddit. The story is this 32-year-old man asking if he was wrong about retrieving the cash after a dinner date went bad. He and his 29-year-old girlfriend had dined at the restaurant. It wasn't fancy, he said, but it was a good place for a relaxed evening with a good meal and a glass of wine. But on this particular night, he said that the service was poor. The waitress allegedly lost his drink twice, brought he and his girlfriend the wrong appetizer, and then vanished for what seemed like an eternity, he described, when they wanted to order dessert. He paid and he left a 10% cash tip, which he said he felt was reasonable given the circumstances. Basically, I'm not giving you the 15, 18%, or maybe 20% because you didn't give me good service. He said, we were just standing up to leave when the waitress came over, took the cash, and said, seriously? This is it? She had said that this audibly out loud, and some people in the area with tables nearby turned around and were staring, he said. He said he was dumbfounded. She then added, servers can't pay their rent because of people like you. If you can't tip properly, don't dine out. The man said that others in the restaurant fell silent as his girlfriend was embarrassed. But he said he remained calm, told the waitress, sorry you feel that way. She then muttered, whatever, cheapsteak. That was the last straw, he said. He went back over to the table, picked up the cash, and left without saying another word. So she got zero. He said, I feel like I was being scolded and humiliated on account of a 10% tip that I actually did leave is way out of bounds. His girlfriend, he said, later told him that his reaction was fine, but a friend said that he went too far, that he shouldn't have taken the money back. I mean, this is the problem sometimes, isn't it? This lady, this waitress, and again, I wasn't there. I'm going to assume that the way he laid out the story is what actually happened. But if you don't get good service, I mean, there have been times that I've thought about leaving nothing and writing a short note and explaining why I left nothing. Because you shouldn't tip if you don't get good service, should you? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com to get the very best deal on all the great products. The bed sheets, the towels, the My Slippers. Michael & Dale still has a great deal on the MyPillow Percale sheets. They're breathable. They have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to cover all those mattresses. And right now, when you use promo code Joey, you're going to get a set for as low as $24.98. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Joey, or call 800-893-4059. Again, always use promo code Joey to get the very best deal possible. So you tell me, should this guy have left the tip, or was he right in picking it up and leaving nothing? Do you always have to give a tip if you don't get good service? Again, love to hear from you. The White House rolled out an interactive map yesterday that shows the savings Americans can expect from initiatives under President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act on a state-by-state basis. President Trump signed the massive piece of legislation into law on the 4th of July, promoting its tax cuts, the fact that it will make the U.S. economy similar to what he called a rocket ship as Americans begin feeling its effects. Yesterday, the White House has published an interactive map of the 50 states that provides breakdowns of how much Americans can expect to save and to see in your pocketbook compared to if the bill had not been passed and signed into law. The interactive map focuses on data like real wage increases, which are understood as the increase to a worker's income after accounting for inflation, a family's expected real take-home pay increase, how many seniors benefit from the no tax on Social Security, the percentage of a state's labor force who are expected to benefit from not paying taxes on tips. We were talking earlier about those tips from wait staff no longer having to be paying taxes on them. The number of jobs protected in a state, and other data like this. And it's kind of interesting. If you want to see this for yourself, go to my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on you'll see it right there, front and center. The very first article has a map of the United States. Click on it. I give you some of the summaries there. You can click on some of the links, and it'll take you right to the map. You can click on any state that you'd like, and it's going to give you a one-page synopsis of how that state actually fared. For example, when you click on South Carolina, you get numbers like this. According to the CEA, finds that the One Big Beautiful Bill will raise wages in South Carolina by an inflation-adjusted range of between $3,300 and $6,000 over the next 4 years. What does this mean? Well, a typical family with 2 children in South Carolina can expect to see higher take-home pay of about $6,900 to $9,800 with the One Big Beautiful Bill compared if it had not passed. Around 5% of the labor force is employed in occupations that would likely benefit from the no taxes on tips provision in the One Big Beautiful Bill in South Carolina. Around 1 million seniors in South Carolina could benefit from the no taxes on Social Security provisions of the One Big Beautiful Bill. And it goes on. Around 26% of all employees in South Carolina, according to the White House, regularly work overtime and could benefit from the no tax on overtime provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill. An even larger 66% of workers in South Carolina are in occupations that are likely eligible for overtime and could also benefit. So this breaks it down for you. If you're listening in another state, you can click on your state. North Carolina. I've got North Carolina, according to the White House. A typical family with 2 children in North Carolina can expect to see higher take-home pay of about $7,100. That's a little more than South Carolina, up to $10,100. They claim that 1.9 million seniors in North Carolina could benefit from the no taxes on Social Security benefits. So again, just go to my website, joeyhudson.com, click on the article there. You'll see the image of the U.S., see the map. Click on that, and I'll give you a breakdown. I'll also give you some links where you can just put this information in for yourself. How it relates to jobs, businesses, housing. They project that the One Big Beautiful Bill will protect about 97,000 full-time jobs in South Carolina over the next 4 years relative to if this had not taken effect and if the Trump tax cuts had been allowed to expire. There are several provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill that will boost the manufacturing industry in South Carolina. About 4% of firms, 3% of establishments, and according to the White House, 13% of employment is in the manufacturing sector in the Palmetto State. It extends the 199A pass-through deduction for small businesses. What does this mean? There are about 74,000 firms in South Carolina which could be eligible for the deduction, or about 44% of all businesses in South Carolina could benefit from this. It enhances opportunity zones, incentives that makes this policy permanent. In South Carolina, there are 135 opportunity zones. The White House says that the opportunity zones created an estimated 18,000 jobs following passage of the Trump tax cuts in 2021 and led to the construction of about 3,900 housing units in South Carolina, though through the third quarter of 2024, last year. So again, there's some specific things, and you can see this for yourself on the website. Just go to joeyhudson.com, click on the article there, and I'll give you all the details. And it gives you a synopsis. California, for example, the nation's most populated state and a blue state. But when Californians start getting the benefit of the One Big Beautiful Bill, wonder what their response is going to be. You think they're going to say, "Thank you, President Donald Trump"? Residents there can expect a real wage increase of $4,900 to $8,800 and a real take-home pay increase of $8,500 to $12,500, depending on their income now. This is a typical family with 2 kids. According to the map, which includes links to more detailed on all states, a typical family with 2 children in California, around 4% of the labor force is employed there in occupations that would likely benefit from no taxes on tips. Around 6 million seniors in California could benefit from the no taxes on Social Security. So you see, there's a lot of people who are going to benefit from this. And it's going to start showing up pretty quickly. In some cases, it's going to take a few years. But do you think the Democrats are going to be appreciative? Do you think the people in California who are going to benefit from this truly are going to say, "Thank you, we now see the light"? House and Senate Republicans, of course, delivered the legislation to President Trump's desk. He signed it on July the 4th. What a way to celebrate 4th of July, right? There were a handful of Republicans who still opposed it. Thomas Massey of Kentucky, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. They voted against their chamber's respective versions of the bill due to its $5 trillion increase to the debt limit. That was something they just could not support. But overall, you had a majority. You had all the Republicans getting behind this big, beautiful bill. And this is going to be the real highlight of Trump 2.0. Check it out for yourself. Then text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Let me know how much money you're going to be putting in your pocket as a result of the one big, beautiful bill. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette posted a campaign kickoff video on her social media channels, sprinkled with sound bites from Governor Henry McMaster and, yes, President Donald Trump.
I'm happy to introduce to the people of South Carolina today someone who is ready, willing, and able to go to work with me.
Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. She's fantastic.
Your Lieutenant Governor is going places. You do know that, right? She has exactly what it takes to be an effective leader in South Carolina. She's a business leader who in 17 years built an idea into a nearly $1 billion company. We want to cut taxes, get rid of regulations. Pamela Evette is an expert in that. This would be great to have a governor and lieutenant governor working together side by side in the greatest state in the whole world.
And another warrior is your Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Pamela, great job.
I think it's a real advantage to have Pamela Evette with her skills, understanding, and experience on this team.
South Carolina Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Thank you very much. Good job you're doing.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Evette. Please stand up, stand to be recognized, please.
And with that, the race for governor got a little more interesting. After months of teasing that she was, quote, seriously considering a run, the lieutenant governor, our second in command in South Carolina, made it official.
My fellow South Carolinians, today is day one of my campaign for governor of South Carolina.
So it looks like the next stop on Pamela Evette's political journey could be the governor's mansion. In her announcement, Evette said, for over 6 years, I haven't been a typical lieutenant governor who sits on the sidelines. I've been Governor McMaster's partner, his right hand in making South Carolina the conservative success story of America. And she's right. She's been shoulder to shoulder with Governor Henry McMaster since 2019. And with him being term limited in 2026, Miss Evette feels that it's her turn to carry the torch. So a quick refresher. Who is Pamela Evette? She is the first Republican woman ever elected lieutenant governor in our state's history. She's a businesswoman. She founded Quality Business Solutions in Travelers Rest, which grew into a regional HR and payroll powerhouse before being acquired by Vensure HR, a national company. With a bachelor's in accounting from Cleveland State University and a track record of building a 7-figure enterprise, she brings that private sector know-how to the political arena, and voters love that fresh eyes approach. So why is Pamela Evette jumping in? First off, she's deeply aligned with the America First agenda. Back in January 2023, she was on stage with President Trump when he rolled out his Palmetto State endorsements, and she's remained rock solid in President Trump's support ever since. You heard him mention her a number of times at different events. The question is, does he endorse her? A lot of insiders say that he will, that she will get the Donald Trump endorsement. We will see. Over the past year, as you've heard her speak at various events, she's leaned heavily into border security. She talks about trade. She talks about dismantling regulatory overreach here in South Carolina, just like President Trump's trying to do nationally. 14 mentions of President Trump's name in a 17-word address at a Lexington County GOP speech, according to the state newspaper. Rob Godfrey is a longtime GOP operative. He summed it up to the state by saying this: it makes sense for the lieutenant governor to run because she has a record of statewide service, and having served for nearly 8 years, she has a story to tell of the people she's met and the challenges that she wants to tackle. And he's right. Pamela Evette has crisscrossed the state. She's been everywhere to visit with businesses, to visit with civic clubs, other nonprofit organizations, and other county and city officials around the state. She's met with business owners. She's seen firsthand the hurdles working families are facing. Another advantage, possibly name ID, sort of. She might not yet be a household name outside of the upstate and in some areas of the state, but she does kind of claim that quasi-incumbent status. When you run alongside the most popular governor in state history, and Henry McMaster is just that. He is sitting at a 66% approval among Republicans, according to a May Winthrop University poll. You got to believe that Pamela Evette will get to borrow a bit of that popularity. Plus, official events give her free airtime. Whenever McMaster is in the picture, you'll find Pamela Evette right beside him. Now, every candidate has hurdles to clear, and Pamela Evette's no different. When asked about challenges, GOP insiders note that she'll need to ramp up her fundraising machinery and do it quickly. Without the, quote, McMaster ticket to hitch a ride on, she's on her own for donors, and she'll have to do that. Alex Stroman, former state GOP executive director, told the state newspaper he thinks Pamela Evette has the raw talent to overcome it, saying she's very good at making genuine connections. She's got that something special that draws people in. The primary electorate will want to know who she is beyond the lieutenant governor's office and what she can do as governor. WYFF TV News 4's Jane Robelo sat down with the lieutenant governor and asked what makes her different from the other candidates.
So I think my resume sets me apart. I've built a large company right here in South Carolina, turned it into a national company. I know the challenges that businesses face every single day. I understand what we need in workforce. I'm a conservative businesswoman that understands why we now need to leverage technology and AI to become efficient.
And yes, you will need to distinguish herself among other candidates because there are other candidates. State Senator Josh Kimbrell was one of the first to announce. Now, his campaign recently hit some legal troubles. Senator Kimbrell faces ongoing state-level charges apparently related to alleged misuses of funds with a business partner. He's positioned himself as an outsider, but voters have to ask, can he survive a general election with those clouds hanging over him? We'll see. Attorney General Alan Wilson, a Lexington County Republican. He's been the state's top law enforcement officer since 2011. A.G. Wilson jumped into the race with a polished rollout. He's got deep ties to the party establishment, a donor network, and a record of defending conservative values in court. Everything from the Second Amendment cases to faith-based school funding. You can expect the Attorney General to dial up law and order themes and paint himself as the safe, steady choice, not to mention his dad is a U.S. congressman. His family has been ingrained in state politics for many, many years. Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who knows? She's been rumored as a potential candidate. Mace hasn't officially declared, but she's teased a bid enough that insiders are taking it seriously. Miss Mace would certainly bring national name recognition. Everybody knows who Nancy Mace is, good, bad, indifferent. She's also drawn fire from the right for votes seen as too moderate, though. Remember her criticism of some of the Trump positions? If she jumps in, it could split the field in some interesting ways. And then, of course, there's rumor that Congressman Ralph Norman is going to jump in, too. Congressman Norman has been promoting a special event on July 27th to make an announcement. So we'll see. Congressman Norman's brand is classic conservative populism, firefighting for the little guy, fighting federal overreach, border security. As a veteran of the state house and U.S. House, Norman certainly has the connections around the state to put together a very competitive campaign. So it's going to be interesting. So why should you care who the next governor is? But beyond the title, the governor of South Carolina sets the tone for business growth, educational reform, infrastructure priorities, and even how aggressively we pursue conservative social policies. With the primary set for June of 2026 and the general in November, the coming months are going to be packed with town halls, debates, TV appearances, and, of course, yes, radio interviews. We will have them all right here on this show so that you can hear what they stand for. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot to cover in the coming months. Bottom line, who has the advantage right now? It's hard to say. Maybe Pamela Abbott has the inside track because of her position as lieutenant governor and her close position with a very popular governor. We'll see. Does she get the Trump endorsement? How important is that Trump endorsement? Does it make a big difference? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.